This is a limited series powered by the Work Defined Podcast Network.
All right, this is William Tincup and Ryan Leary. We are broadcasting from Fama's booth at HR Tech. We have Fama people
here
with us.
Yeah.
So this is actually their podcast that they've started, the 9 to 5 Nightmares, and we love it. And so we're helping them just kind of figure out stories about employees behaving badly and then some potential solutions.
We love it so much, we kicked them out of it.
That's right.
For the next 2 days.
So why don't we do introductions? Why don't we introduce ourselves first?
I'm Amy Warren. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Fama.
I'm Micole, and I am the Director of Product and Content Marketing here at Fama.
Okay.
I'm Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
No, you don't want me to introduce myself?
You're a Virgo.
I am a Virgo.
Now we're going down a different...
He only knows that because he's a Virgo.
That's right.
And I only know that because we share the same birthday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
We do.
August 26th.
10 years difference, but the date's
awesome.
the same.
So, all right. So, first thing we're going to do is try and figure out some stories of employees behaving badly.
Yeah.
So, we'll start with Amy and go to Micole.
Okay.
So, give us your one that you got, or maybe two, whatever you got.
My one or my two.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about a report that we just had come up at Fama. So this is what we talk about a lot. And it was really interesting because this was a person who wanted to work at a university, right? So education, wanting to work there. And they started talking about kids that they were annoyed with online and how they wanted to, physically abuse them.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So it's shocking
That's
to
a red
me
flag.
that somebody wants to go into, that, not going into, they were already working in education.
Right.
And then they're publicly posting about, A, how they don't like children, and B, how they're going to be physically violent towards them. So that's
Not
my
a good
first
mix.
one. That's my first shocker.
It's like preschool teachers saying, I hate kids.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll start there.
All right. Micole, what's your go-to?
Yeah, I was in a briefing, actually, with one of the analysts a couple years ago, and
Oh, I like this already.
and when I told
Name the
him...
analyst.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No.
And when I told him what we did, he was like, oh my God, a couple weeks ago, one of my wife's friends' preschool teachers was found that basically she was posting about drinking on the job.
Oh.
And,
Oh my goodness.
and a couple of the parents found out and reported it to the school, and it was like all hell broke loose.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Right? They're drinking on the job
Yeah.
at a preschool.
Yeah.
Well, I
know
can
kids
imagine
are hard, right?
I knew where you were going.
I'm not going to go that far. All I can imagine is...
That is easily justifiable. All right, maybe it's just me. I saw teachers as being a teacher and then going home, and that's it. And then later in life, a lot later when I met my wife, I realized teachers actually go out after work and they get drunk and they do things.
Oh, yeah.
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 And I never saw teachers that way. So when I hear these stories, now I look at teachers very differently because we hang out with
Well,
the
they're
teachers
people.
at the school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I see what they do and I'm like,
Well, but
You're
I would say,
teaching my
too,
kid.
Full transparency. I'm a parent of 2 kids, but I'm also a parent of 2 special needs kids.
Right.
So there's day drinking involved every once in a while, but there's another
100%.
parent involved who's not day drinking.
the ironic part is he's day drinking, thinking there's another parent that's not.
That's the only context that I could see, day drinking and children being in the same,
No.
realm.
No, because, again, how do you cope? How do you cope?
Yeah.
There's so much that's hard to deal with, and you have good days and bad days and all that
But
other
that's why
stuff.
there's daycare, and I'm expecting them not
Right. Right.
And
Y'all
then they
fix
get
that.
the school bus and it's even better.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to stop.
Y'all fix that and call me later. Do you have another go-to story when people ask you?
So my other go-to story is someone that I worked with was in their office, and their office had like a glass, like French door. That was sort of the door into their office. And their desk was right there in front of the door. And across from that door was sort of like the little kind of cafeteria room. You know, I mean, this is a workplace, so those places are a little bit more like low-key. You could sit there and you could eat your lunch. And that door was solid. And so the woman was sitting there on the phone and noticed that the door was open a little bit. And someone was on the other side of the door masturbating.
No.
Looking at her.
No.
And
Looking at her talking on the phone? Oh, nice.
Now think about that.
That's a weird fetish. I have to think about that for a moment. Is that classified
That
office?
phone has a cord.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd search for that.
Yeah. And this was like I'll share a little bit more. Like it was a public government scenario.
What?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is
So it was
like-
like in a public building. This was like a government
Oh
employee.
no, there's nothing good about that.
Yeah. So it was like, it was pretty wild situation.
Yeah.
And then safety things too. I mean,
Right.
Sure.
because this was
Yeah, he
maybe
could have gotten
10,
injured.
That door's solid. They could have just opened the door right on.
My bad. I'm thinking about.
Broken nose, door to the face.
Dude, he could have been injured on the job. What do you do? That's a workplace injury.
I couldn't start with that one. Right? It was just like,
No,
where
we
do
had
you
to get
go
there.
from there?
We had to get there.
Yeah.
Did he lose the pension? That's the question. If he lost his pension, that's a problem.
Good God. I'd like to be HR later for that one. That would be a fun exit interview. It's like, all right, well, Paul, let's talk a little bit about why we're here.
As we just learned in our last interview, moving on.
So, do you have another story that you
How are you
have?
going to compete with this? I don't know.
I think the only other thing that can compete with that is the EMT story.
I was just going to, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Give
you
us
have
the-
to tell the
you-
EM.
you
That's
gotta- you
worse
gotta-
than my story.
So
I don't know.
2 weeks ago, we ran a report on somebody who was an EMT driver, and he got drunk, stole an like an emergency vehicle.
Yeah. Sounds like the beginning of a John Wick movie.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
Hit someone,
Yeah.
and ran away, and then got caught. And
Drunk driving, stealing a vehicle, hit
Yeah.
and run.
Did he hit a
Yeah.
car or a person?
a person,
Didn't stop to help him.
did not stop to help him.
Fail.
And just drove away, and they were like an emergency services.
Wow. Well, there
That
you
wasn't
go.
it. That's it. I mean, first of all,
And
that's
Grand
jail.
Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's jail time.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
Grand Theft Auto.
Do not pass go.
Right.
Go directly to jail.
Right. So we found that in a Fama
You're
report
bunking
like
next to
2
P.
weeks
Diddy.
ago.
Well, first of all, that's a great reason that y'all were telling us a story offline about how TikTok, how you work with TikTok and other companies like that to help them kind of mitigate risk with influencers
Right.
before they match them up with brands. We
Yeah.
didn't. Ryan and I
Never knew
had
that.
no idea.
Yeah.
So it's just a cool story.
We
Tell us a little bit
had
about
screened William.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Yeah.
What did you screen,
We
William?
did-
What
we did
came
screen
back?
Actually, I would have to say, Micole and I were surprised. There was barely anything on your report. I just got
I'm shocked.
Not
actually.
barely.
That's
but
because
like,
the
it
records are
wasn't
still
that
sealed.
bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Compared to some, I didn't steal a vehicle.
You
and-
did not steal that we know of.
Well, see, the thing is, I grew up in the '80s, and everyone didn't have a camera phone.
True.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, if everyone had a phone back then, I'd be in prison. There's just no.
Yeah,
doubt.
it's pre-internet. We're-
Sorry,
Well, that's that's funny.
thankful.
That's something that we talk about a lot. We
Yeah, we
just started
do.
talking about in the last 2 months is in 5 years, 75% of the workforce will be digital natives.
Yep.
Meaning, like, since birth,
That's crazy.
they've
They've
been
always had the
online. And we talk about this a lot because, what we do is no longer nice to have. It's a have to have.
Oh, you have to have it.
Especially as the workforce is changing. Yeah.
You have to have it because, again, you're mitigating risk.
Right.
Exactly.
And these things are going to happen It's a matter of getting the percentages down. I think you said from getting them down to about 5%.
Yeah, like we do a misconduct report every year in the state of workplace misconduct. And what we do is we look at everybody that we've screened and what's the rate of misconduct. So overall last year it was about 10%. We went down about 1% year over year from the year before. But when you look at it industry by industry, it's very different. So I'll talk about that in a second. But you're never going to have it eliminated. So we have what we call it's a 5% rule. So you want to get it down to 5%. You're not going to probably be able to eliminate it further than that because people are just people and there's a subset of people that misbehave. But when you look at it by industry, that's when it's fascinating. You've got like the media and entertainment industry, 25% of the people we screen in that industry have at least one red flag of misconduct. And Micole, what are some of the other industries that we have that are pretty high?
Retail and hospitality
is
the highest.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I worked in retail. And it was, again, back in the 80s, it was paid in place. It was just a question of who you were sleeping with, not were you sleeping with an employee. That was just the way it was.
Yeah.
And people that have come up through restaurants have told me that basically it's the same thing. That they do the bar, the hostess, the waitresses, the waiters, all that stuff. Like, it's just Animal Farm.
And the cost of it, you know, trillions of dollars, actually, is the cost of misconduct at the global scale every year. And, you know, I would love it if we could get misconduct down to 5%.
Right.
You know, like that would be great. But even just raising the awareness of the cost involved in it, think about how much money you spend to get down to those 3 final candidates. And if you don't do something like a Fama report and then you offer to one person, you hire them, right? And then the next thing you know, especially executives too. That's one of the things that we also spend a lot of time focused on that. You know, it's at all levels of hiring, but when you hire a bad executive, a bad CEO, that cost then multiplies even more because now you have brand damage that you have to consider in that too.
One of the more colorful executive reports that we've had, it was somebody applying to be a CFO, and in his background we found histories of fraud he's committed at other companies.
Oh yeah, that's
prostitution, like several prostitution cases.
Or to see the prostitute, or
no, and then
was he a giver or a taker? What was
he was a taker according to his ex-wife, because we also found the divorce proceedings and they were not pretty.
I mean, I wouldn't judge him. I just want to know if he's a giver or a taker. Wow, divorce proceedings.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about going through those. That would actually be really interesting content.
It was all looped into like there was just so much. I was like,
who
would want to hire this guy to be their CFO?
You just start over. This is a start over.
Like maybe go
change your name.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, how many times can you be? How many different fraud cases before you just leave finance?
That's true.
I had an employee that perpetrated.
We're not going to trust you.
Fraud on us twice.
Really?
The first time it was just credit cards. Obviously, but basically they had a credit cards, corporate cards, and they would just go on Amazon and buy stuff for themselves. Okay, so there's that. It was about $6,000. And we're like, we really like the guy, and we were trying to make it work. It's like, let's do a learning. Like, let's do this.
Make it a learning moment. Yeah.
90 days later, maybe 4 months later, he stole one of our checks and wrote a check to himself for $20,000.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Bank. Only reason he got caught is the bank called us and said, "Hey, y'all write big checks, so it's not that big a deal, but like this one
just didn't seem right.
So, just want to make sure." It's Bank of America. Just want to make sure. We're like, we haven't written a $20,000 check this week. I would know that. I'd know that. And so we dug into it, and it was him. And it's like, dude, seriously, like, we talked to you. You had this thing.
Yeah.
We talked to you. You've already perpetrated fraud. We could have had you arrested.
Right.
And then you do it again. Like.
And that's like a large sum. Like, did he think nobody would notice?
Yeah.
Like.
You could do it in $1,000 increments.
Yeah.
And get away with it.
$900.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I liked about your story was I liked the choice, right? Like you had the information and you decided what's going to be the best place for my company and how I want to handle this, and I want to give this person like another chance, right? And a lot of times people ask us, they say, how should we use this information? And the way that you just talked about it, that's exactly, everybody's going to use this information differently. Every company's different. They're going to, maybe they're just going to bring it up and have a conversation and give somebody at least an explanation to help us understand, have an open conversation, give people choices. Some people are going to say, you know what, I've seen enough. I don't need to have that conversation. But I think that's an important piece in all of this is, what's your company culture? How does this fit into your company culture, and how do you want to handle this information?
Right. And what's interesting, too, is, when we ran your report, of course you had flags in your report, and we were like,
of course.
I mean, we've met you. We know you. And
and most of it was around the language, right?
Right.
So we do. We have flags for foul language, and that's important in some companies.
you can do
that.
keywords, but like most companies don't actually
most
do that.
companies
but you totally
don't,
can
but you
if you
can
want.
if you want to.
It's the idea that the company hiring allows them to make the choice.
Exactly.
That's
what
the
they
key.
consider harassment to be.
Right. Yes,
because,
exactly.
That's where it all fits in.
Right.
And then, you read it, and I'm not, think about how much content you create online. Could you imagine if we had to go through all of that? We can't. There's not enough time in all of HR tech.
No.
It was a pretty long report.
Right? But I don't know. It was like a 2 or 3 page report. I think it was. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head how many pages it was, but it was it wasn't even that much. I flipped through it. I'm like, oh, okay, we're good, right? There's nothing in here.
There was this thing with a puppy.
Right.
Whatever.
Is it going to come up? Are we going to have an issue?
He talks a lot about drowning cats. Don't worry, it's no big deal. It's not that big a deal.
Well, I think the point is that we saw it and we were for us we know you we know what we're getting when we work with you, and we were able to make an informed choice to say okay, we're still going to work with this person.
Again,
right. It doesn't have to be no.
Right. Exactly.
Back to the TikTok with influencers.
Right.
Being able to say, okay, here's what's going on with this influencer brand. Now you know.
Yeah.
Right. That's literally all it is. It's information to make informed decisions.
I love it. it. So what are y'all trying to get out of HR Tech? What's the bit?
I really want to understand from the buyers out there, what are the pain points they're trying to solve for? I have an idea on what I think the most important things are. I think it's cost, efficiency, saving money,
now it is.
those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that that's what's going on, because obviously, do marketing. I'm thinking about Fama has a lot of benefits, and we want to be able to talk to the pain points of our buyer in what's important to them right now.
Well, this is a future expense or future cost. So you spend money now, little money now, but it saves you big money then.
Exactly. And that's what people have to think about. Like what I was saying. Think about your cost per hire.
Right.
You have one bad hire like that,
right?
Which could have been mitigated easily.
Yeah.
That's the kick in the shorts.
And that doesn't take into account the brand damage.
Well, and we recently did an ROI study. And Micole, what was the return on investment?
Oh yeah, the education use case. I think it was $116 to 1.
Yeah, return on doing a Fama report. So $116 to $1 spent on a Fama report. That's just...
You can't beat that.
You can't argue with those kind of numbers.
No, again, it pays for itself.
Yeah.
It pays for itself by one not bad hire. Someone that didn't go through the process. It's okay, no, that's unacceptable. We just can't have that.
And forget your the hire we follow a lot of this stuff. That's what we do in our podcast. Are you a fast food employee that's urinating in food and showing those pictures online?
Right.
Are you going to want to hire that person again? So it even goes beyond just the cost of the bad hire. Everybody now today has a worldwide audience. It is amazing if something goes viral.
Oh, yeah.
And if your employee goes viral about your workplace,
there's a whole lot of people that aren't going to that restaurant
Right.
Exactly.
for a long time.
Right.
Exactly. So, I think the mindset of how people need to be thinking about who they work with, who they hire, you've got to think about this chance that everybody has a global audience. How is this person that you're hiring going to talk about you, talk about your brand? How are they talking about things today? And it has to be a part of the consideration. That's what modern hiring managers are doing.
Right.
And you need to expand how you're screening.
Drops mic.
Yeah.
Walks off stage.
We're good.
We are good. Thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you guys.
Your
It's
show.
great to have you.
Thank you for coming to your show.